Hi there, it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for joining me today. So today is Make It Up Monday. I've cheated a little bit in that I have done a bit of preparation in advance, purely because of the watercolouring that I'm doing. So, in the here's one I've prepared earlier style. So this is using the Moon Baby stamp set. This is a set that I swore I would never buy, and I love it. I'm actually doing some events that are for preschool children and their carers / parents, and I've got a little stall at these events. So I'm embracing the child thing in me. So Moon Baby, and it is gorgeous. It is just so pretty. It's perfect for watercolouring or watercolour pencils, and in this case I've used watercolour pencils. I have used, this is the shimmery white cardstock, which is lovely. You could use watercolour paper instead, but I do like the shimmery white, particularly for this project because it's got the moon, and I think the little sparkle is nice. You probably won't be able to see it on the camera, but there is that lovely little sparkle. And for watercolouring with watercolour pencils, it's perfect. The only thing I would say is I've used the archival black ink, which works really well, but you do need to leave it to dry. And that's why I've done this kind of in advance, because I stamped way in advance. I've done a whole bunch of watercolour images for this event. So I stamped them all in advance, left them for a day, and then I came in with the watercolour pencils and the blender pen. Had I come in too soon, the blender pen would have smudged the black ink, and I've tried it with Memento as well. I prefer the archival black for this. You could use archival grey as well, which would give a softer look, but I do prefer the archival. But do just make sure you have left it to really dry before you come in to use watercolour or your blender pen. Anyway, so procrastination over. What we are making today is a Z-fold card. I have pre-cut my image with the largest of the stitched shape framelit ovals, which I'm now trying to find because they were on my desk and I put them down somewhere. There we are. So yes, the largest of the stitched shape framelit ovals, this one, and the largest of the scalloped layering oval dies, and by using those you get a really nice little edge, and it fits perfectly. And because he's falling from the sky, I'm having him at a slightly jaunty angle. I'm having the image at a slightly jaunty angle, so that he's got that whole movement thing. One thing to remember with the stitched shapes is that whereas with the other layering shapes, the cutting is right on the inside edge, with the stitched shapes, because you've got the stitching right on the inside edge, you have to allow a little bit extra for the cut line. So just bear that in mind if you're looking at layering things, or if you're looking at only just having enough card to use the die. Remember that you do need to allow this extra little bit. So that's that. So that was just using, say, a small piece of shimmery white. It was this sort of size. Die cutting that out, and a scrap of Pool Party. Now the reason I've gone for Pool Party, although this is Pacific Point because there isn't a Pool Party watercolour pencil, is because I am then using the Petal Garden Designer Series paper, and although I'm not using the blue, I'm embracing the colour scheme, because the colour scheme is on the back of the stack, and it's Calypso Coral Old Olive, which is what I will be using, Pool Party, Rich Razzleberry, Sweet Sugar Plum, and then Whisper White. So I'm using the Pool Party because I'm using the Pool Party, and for no other reason than that. So what have I got? I have already pre-cut my card base, and this is just a piece of A4 card, and again it's the shimmery white. Now, why have I used shimmery white for the card base? This is Whisper White, and I think you can see that the shimmery white is not quite as white, but if I then introduce a piece of Very Vanilla, let me grab a piece of Very Vanilla, then this looks too far the other way. It probably, for me, it works. I'm just pointing at me and you're not going to see that. For me, if I was going to pair it with one of the thick neutrals, I would use the vanilla rather than the white, because the white just, it just looks wrong on so many levels. However, I'm not using the white at all, I'm using the shimmery. So I've cut this in half, but the long way, what I think some people refer to as hot dog rather than hamburger. So this is cut at 4 1/8 inches, or 10.6 centimetres this way. Then I've scored it at, these are all bizarre measurements, I'm sorry, so this is in half, but it's 5 13/16, or just under 5 7/8 of an inch, or 14.8 centimetres. And then this is scored at 2 7/8, or 7 1/4 centimetres, which gives us this nice Z look. And then my designer series paper, and it uses, the pool part is actually on the back, but I'm using the old olive side, and that is 4 inches by 2 3/4, or 10 by 7. It's actually not quite 10 by 7, but it's a better measurement and it will work perfectly well. So yes, and that layers nicely on the little front there. We are going to do a little bit of extra stamping, but I will first of all stick my designer series paper on. Those of you who know me and love me and have watched my videos before, and if you aren't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button down there, just in the corner there, and then you'll see more of this madness that I call YouTube videos. You will know, if you have watched me before, that I like the Tombow adhesive. So I'm going to use the Tombow adhesive. Now, some people are worried that using a wet adhesive on designer series paper will make the designer series paper buckle. Two things. A, don't use too much, because if you use too much, it will. You're right, it will make it buckle. But also the designer series, our designer series paper is really good. So it's slightly thicker than some pattern paper, so it doesn't buckle. So there you are, you can see it's beautifully stuck down, but it gives me that little bit of wiggle room had it gone on slightly skew width, which it hasn't. So that's fine. This I'm going to pop up onto some dimensionals, which would be a whole lot easier if I had some dimensionals. Let me grab a new packet, because I seem to have run out, or pretty much run out. This is my sheet of dimensionals, so I will use the little bit that's there. But I've only got minis. Oh, actually I could use the edges of some of the minis, couldn't I? Because the minis come with wonderfully thick edges. So let's use some of that, because it's just as good as the bits in the middle. And in some cases it's even better. So let's use those up before I start a brand spanking new sheet of full-size dimensionals. So that's going to be just popped up. Am I still in camera? Only just. So that's going to be popped up there. And then his little one-piece suit is actually an old olive, so that's why I chose the old olive. And then that's just going to pop there. And I'm having it so that it's not down the middle, it's just slightly off. So remembering which way is the inside edge, again I'm going to use my favourite multi-purpose glue. And again, making sure that we are at least over that glue, which we are. Let's get that sort of straight, and this is why, because I've used the multi-purpose glue, I get to have that little wiggle room. Super duper. So that's that. Then I'm going to do a little bit of stamping on the inside because I can. So I did mount up my stamps. Oh, looking completely the wrong place. You'd think I had a brain, wouldn't you? Right, okay, so I am actually going to use Memento for the black stamping on this because it dries quicker. So I am using Showers of Happiness and Hello Baby. Hello Baby I'm going to put so you can't see it. Showers of Happiness I'm going to put down here because then it's a shower of happiness. I'm actually going to do that, checking that it's the right way up, which it is. I'm going to do that first. Am I? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Hesitation. Yes, I am. It's painful sometimes, isn't it? So there we are, Showers of Happiness. And I say I'm using the Memento because it dries quick, quick, quick. And then Hello Baby, which again I need to make sure I have the right way up. I'm going to pop just here. And I'm not pressing too hard because as it's red rubber it will squish, which is a technical phrase obviously, but there we are. So we've got Showers of Happiness and then you can write your little message there. So that's that. I have brought in the 3 stars as well. There are 2 lots of stars. There's a bunch of 3 and then there's a single. I'm using the bunch of 3 because as we've got showers of happiness, I thought we would have some showers of happiness. So I am going to use Stamped Off. Let's bring in some scrap as I've just changed my grid paper. Stamped Off Smoky Slate. So we get a nice faint effect. And again, I'm not pressing too hard because we only want the gentle outline. And then, let's go that way. There we are. So that's Showers of Happiness, and I will leave those to clean up in a moment. And then, although I'm using the shimmer cardstock, I am actually going to add a bit more bling bling, Wink of Stella, just to make the stars even more shimmery, and I'm just colouring them in. Because, and again, I think this is one of those things that looks so much better in person than it does on camera. Once I finish this, I will bring it up to the camera to see if it shows. But, yeah, it looks very pretty here. But I'm not sure it will show on camera, which is quite sad, actually, because it's really pretty. So let me see if, I really don't know, the lighting's not particularly great either. Let's see if I can do anything. I don't know if you can see that. Trouble is I'm looking in a screen that's about 2 inches by 1.5 inches, so I really wouldn't know. Anyway, so there we are. It's quite a simple little card, but I thought it's quite cute. And as a Hello Baby card, particularly as I'm one of those people who's not always convinced I've registered which particular child has been born, whether it's a boy or a girl. And particularly as sometimes the names that are used these days don't necessarily indicate that just by the name. However, so with a green suit, I know I've used the blue, but with a green suit, it maybe works okay for a girl as well. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I will list all the products I've used below. The associated blog post with all the dimensions is listed, let's think, oh yes, below. As I say, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button. If you've enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. To get any of the products I've used, or indeed anything else, please hop over to my online store. There's a link below and on my website. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye!